What if I told you it was possible to trade the SPY both ways, to not only focus on making money on the put side like I'm known for doing, but to also master a unique price action trading strategy where you can identify patterns within history and confirm that that history is going to repeat itself so you can capitalize off of both sides of the trade, not just being bearish, but also being bullish? Well, shortly after the market opening, I was able to identify that SPY was on a bullish trend, comparing September 6th, which is right here, in September 7th 30-minute chart, to September's first 30-minute chart. I was able to really identify towards, I would say, 11 a.m., that SPY was really overall bullish on the day. And I'm going to show you how I was able to capitalize off of that and make multiple 100% returns trading call options. I had 3 amazing call options trades today. Both of them were 100% returns. The first one was like 133%. The one after that was almost 100%. And then I had another one after that. It was like 50 or it was like 70%, something like that. I'm going to show you how I was able to identify this trend and bank on calls multiple times today. And in terms of tomorrow is going to be an extremely lucrative trading day for the market. We are currently approaching key resistance. We got Paul speaking as well. So I'm going to be addressing all of that towards the end of this video and giving you the updated price action analysis. So make sure you stay to the end. Right now, we're going to keep the focus on the trade recaps and the price action trading strategy. I am going to show you how to identify patterns in the chart and how to confirm that those patterns and that history is going to repeat itself. Basically, I'm going to be exposing you to patterns at key levels. And once you start to see that this pattern is starting to look similar on today's chart compared to the date that you're looking at, you can piggyback off of that history repeating itself and capitalize off of that both ways. And I'm going to be showing you how to do it on the call side today. So in terms of my analysis in the pre-market watch list that I sent out within Trader Society, which was posted before the market opened right here at 9:24 a.m., I had stated that, these are the key levels for the SPY. There's a gap to fill at $390.76. If you ever see it react to support, it's going to run to $392. If we break above $392, then it's going to be super bullish. I'd also made it clear, as of now, I'm not bullish or bearish. Just understand we've sat at key support, that 390 to 389 mid-level, for 3 days in a row. If the SPY goes red to green and turns 392 in support, it could be a big green day. That was the key analysis in terms of that trade, in terms of that trend and chart that I was looking at. And then shortly after that, 2 minutes after I posted that, I had noticed that plenty of great stocks were already green and they were already up nicely. Plenty of great companies were up 0.5% to 1% plus, and SPY was still down trying to fill the gap. So that would be an indication that, this is a good sign that SPY is going to go green. So those were the main analysis that I gave out. And then in terms of the bearish thesis, I had stated that the best level for puts is 396. I shortly updated that to 397, and I decided to stay away from it, even though there was a nice quick print you could have done on same days with this 397. And then in terms of the bearish thesis, for this to go bearish today, 397 would have to react as a resistance. If that can occur and SPY can go from green back to red in terms of resistance, which it never really did, then we would see a retest of the 388.42. So that was the analysis, and it was clearly the bullish thesis that ended up working out. In terms of the best trade of the day, I ended up scooping calls when most people were bearish in chat and holding puts. When this dropped to like 393, and I made 133% on those. I had so many amazing scalping opportunities in the SPY and SPX floor. That's the money making floor where I do my laser quick scalps in terms of the best setups at the best prices. And with the stocks, that's where I alert and will alerts at the key levels, best trades possible, those like 2 to 3 a day. But in terms of SPY, there's multiple trading opportunities every single day that I'm finding to capitalize just off the SPY. One tip that I want to give you guys as well before I get into this strategy is, one thing that I've noticed for myself, you want to sharpen an edge and you want to focus on one thing. And for me, the one thing I focus on is mastering the SPY. I find it to be the most predictable. I like its price action. It has the most liquidity. It offers the biggest percentage returns. I believe it's the right thing to focus on daily, is the overall market. And with that being said, that's really going to help you sharpen your edge. I've noticed when I trade stocks that I normally don't trade, right? The price action's different. The feeling is different. And I'm probably going to trade it how I would trade SPY, which is going to affect that trade. because I haven't mastered the price action of that specific stock that I'm trading. So one thing I'm going to say about that is, in terms of trading the best setups at the best prices, if I'm going to trade a stock, I need a strategic plan. I need a very strategic plan. It needs to be planned in advance. I need to see a strong confirmation. It needs to be the best level. But in terms of SPY, this is just something where I could literally just scalp off the fly when I see a key pattern that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video, and I could do very, very well trading the SPY. But in terms of stocks, I just cannot do the same. I'm telling you, I have this read in this feel for SPY, this price action that I'm really beginning to master, and there's nothing truly like it. So one thing I'm really going to tell you is focus on one stock and master the price action of the stock, master the volatility, master the movements of it, master the feel of it, gain that state of flow and confidence. If you're bouncing all around trading other stocks, you're not going to have that feel. You're not going to have that state of flow. The price action is going to be different. Some stocks are going to be moving slow. Some are going to be moving fast. You're not going to understand it to a very true, in-depth, detailed level where you can really sharpen an edge and capitalize and have confidence off of that. So I want to bring awareness to that because I've noticed that for me. And if I don't strategically plan on stocks, I'm just throwing money away in most case scenarios. It has to be strategically planned. But if I'm trading the SPY, since I'm really beginning to master that, it's a completely different story. I can scalp this off the fly. So let's get into the strategy. So in terms of the bullish thesis, basically in terms of, let's go over this here real quick before we get into this pattern. So basically in terms of SPY, the previous closing price was at $390.76, right? So $390.76, basically this red line. As soon as it filled the gap, it started to form support. Stocks were already well above their previous closing price, up 0.50%, up 1% plus, very strong companies that can help move and push the SPY up. So that should have been a dead giveaway in terms of this is likely going to spike in the morning in that sense, right? So that was the overall thesis on that. And then in terms of the 392 level that I gave out, I had stated in my previous video, we're likely going to see a pullback at 392. And I played puts at 392, made a quick 12%, and then I got back in on puts again, wasn't as confident, and then I ended up losing a quick 20%. And then from there, I took a break. And then after that break, that's where I came back and really started destroying the SPY. So one thing in terms of pattern recognition and trends, you guys need to understand, it takes time to develop. You have to be researching and looking back throughout the chart history and identifying patterns. And, I'm doing this with the 5-minute chart. I'm doing this with the 30-minute chart. I really like that 30-minute time frame in terms of identifying overall trends. And it takes time to develop. So that trend, that pattern, that confirmation, that piggybacking that you could take advantage of isn't really going to happen right away. It's going to take time. But in terms of what we knew before then, here's what we knew in terms of being bullish. We knew there was a gap to fill. Right here on the SPY, there was a gap to fill at this 390 level. It bottomed 3 days in a row at 390, right? And we knew if the previous closing price reacted as support, which was 390.60, it's going to be overall bullish. All it really has to do is break above 392, and then it's really going to turn super bullish. And we also knew stocks were already ripping and going green. So everything was kind of leading bullish into that sense. Now, in terms of crushing calls, this is where I really began to get back in the game and crush calls. I'm going to show you ways how I was able to do it, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to compare this, which is September 6th, right? So September 6th, I want you to compare this to September 1st. This is when I started to identify patterns. So right here on September 1st, I was noticing, look at the 30 minutes. We're bottoming in 390. Look at today's open. We're bottoming the 390. See how the price is nearly the same. See how the candlesticks, where they're topping out, where they're bottoming out, even the way they look, in a sense, are nearly identical, are nearly the same, right? So I'm really starting to confirm this pattern, and this is the killer trade. This was the trade that really put me on the map in terms of SPY. I'm going to show you. It was this one right here. This is the one that really helped put me on the map in this situation. We have this very nice green candle. We have this very nice pump. So SPY sells off. Then we have this very nice pump to 393. They see right here, overall SPY sells off. And then we start to get this very nice pump. And then I'm looking at this overall trend. And what I want to show you is this. We're going to really dial in and focus on this. See this green little trend reversal candlestick right here. See this green little trend reversal candlestick right here. Overall, you can see that SPY kind of spikes, but then it drops. And then on the next candle, on the third candle, it rockets. And then you can see right here on the next candle, it rockets, right? So basically, once this red candle formed here, I took advantage and I bought calls on the first 30-minute candle that opened up, and that history repeated itself. See the green, red move, and see how the candlesticks are kind of similar. And I did the same thing again. I did the same exact thing again on the SPY. I did the same thing. This went from 395.40, had a very nice sell-off, and I'm looking at this and I'm saying, this is the same pattern. It keeps forming. So here, let me visually show you what it is that I'm talking about here. So in terms of this pattern, there was two ways I viewed it. It looks slightly different on my phone because when I'm reading price action, I'm mainly trading on my phone because that's just what works best for me. But this is that pattern, this like green, red, green pattern, right? So right here, you have this nice green bar, you have this green bar, then this red move, and then big green move. When I saw that occur in this range, so this right here, this right here, this right here, this right here, I was expecting a big green candle and a breakout that nobody was expecting. That's what I was comparing it to. And I was also comparing it to this right here, this green right here, this red right here, and then big green move up. And I did it again. I did it back to back. I bought calls on this dip of fear as it was closing the 3rd-minute candle, expecting that we were gonna get to that green, red, nice green, red move. And then I did the same thing right here. Green, red, and then on the next 30-minute candle, nice green move up. You could see that this pattern that I identified on the 30-minute, I mean, just look at this. Here, let me really show you this. Look at how identical this is. Look at this, man. You can't argue with this history repeating itself. Once you identify it, just look at how identical that looks, right? You see what I'm saying? It looks so similar in that sense, right? If you were to just compare the overall candles, the style of the candles, the prices SPY was trading at, that's how I was able to get perfect entries by looking at these patterns and tell myself, all right, on that middle red candle, I'm going to start accumulating in calls on a nice dip right before the next 30-minute candle opens. That way I take advantage of that big move to the upside. That way I take advantage of that big move to the upside and see how it repeats itself. The middle red candle, start accumulating calls on the dip right before the next 30-minute candle opens, and then boom, it blasts off, and then boom, it blasts off. And then do the same thing, rinse and repeat. On the middle red candle right here, start accumulating calls, and then boom, it blasts off. And if you were to just study the trend overall today, I explained to you the reasons why we're, why it was overall bullish thesis. And just by identifying these patterns and movements in the SPY, it became very clear that this is looking just like September 1st. So if I didn't go back to September 1st, I probably would not have been buying calls today, and I would not have been getting amazing entries, and I would not be doing extremely well on the call side. So in terms of that strategy, history repeating itself, I was looking back throughout patterns, and I'm saying, okay, what looks similar? What is happening that is very similar? And I'm saying, right around here on September 1st, SPY bombs out to 390. It's opening up green. Stocks are flying. It's looking very bullish. And I'm seeing the potential on this day. It got to, it bombed at 390. It rocketed to 390.70. On this day, it bottomed at 390, and it was at a high of 401.56. So I'm seeing the potential on the SPY. So that's how I was able to do it. Capitalizing off of those 30-minute candles, comparing that trend and that history that I showed you, that green, red, green move, along with the further history and the key support and the reasons why I was bullish, with stocks going, with stocks already being nicely in the green when SPY was still in the red early in the morning. That is how I was able to do it. It was just mainly using 30-minute candles. I also had some very nice trades using 5-minute candles. Not going to be going over to that. But in terms of overall thesis, that is the main reasons why I was overall bullish today. So, like I said, the main two trades, the big hitters, the main ones were literally calls on the exact low of this dip and then calls on the low of this dip using that pattern. I literally bought calls on the low of these dips right before the candlesticks closed, right before the new 30-minute candles open. And as you could see, blasted off. It printed twice, back-to-back 100% gainers. Those were the main plays. And then I bought a breakout, made a quick 50% on that. Big shout out to Tanka. Tanka alerted puts literally at the top. I saw his alert, and I'm well aware this is a person that has a very good read on the SPY. It's all he trades. He's consistently trading it and giving out accurate information and calls on it. So big shout out to Tinkashop within the chat for the work he puts in. And I saw this pattern on the 5-minute chart after he alerted. He said, don't sleep on this play. So I looked at what he had to say, and I looked at this pattern that I saw on the 5-minute chart, took advantage of that, and played puts shortly into the close. I believe it was right around here, played puts, made a quick 50% return on that, and those ended up doing over 100% plus. So big shout out to him for that play. But yeah, that's the main thesis. That's the main overall information I want to share with you in terms of that trade recap. These were all alerted. I had several trades today. The win rate was slightly above 70%. I believe it was 75%. It was mainly focused on the call side. I mean, if you were to just look at the trends and look at the 5-minute chart and compare it to look at the 30-minute chart, compare it to September 1st, and if you were to understand, previous closing price, this white line right here, if that reacts to support, SPY is super bullish, right? If we break above 392, SPY is super bullish. If you were to understand these theses, right? Because you guys are well aware, we had that support. We had the support at 390. We had the support at 390. We had support at 388, double bottom right here during extended hours, right? So, I mean, is that really bearish? If SPY is bottoming out right here at 388, and then quickly rocketing to 394, and it bottoms at 388 in extended hours, it's pushing green, goes red, and then turns red to green while stocks are already up 0.5% to 1%, and then turns the previous closing price into bullish. There is no fucking reason to be bearish when that occurs. So just remember that. When you see a strong bullish reaction at that previous closing price, that is overall bullish. And history showed us what can happen. If it bottoms towards this 388 level, this can quickly rapid fire rocket to $394, and it ended up even going much higher. So yeah, that's my thoughts. That's my analysis on the SPY. In terms of tomorrow, so Powell's going to be speaking early, I believe, in the pre-market tomorrow. I believe it's at 9:10 a.m. So here's my overall thoughts, right? So let's talk about the chart, and let's talk about how the chart looks right now. A lot of the people that I'm speaking with are bullish. They are very, very bullish on the SPY. In terms of what I'm currently seeing right now, this is what I'm currently seeing. We basically have a quintuple bottom at this 390 support. And, this was previous resistance at this 390. And you can see we had a massive breakout to 434 and then a massive crash to fill the gap. Ever since SPY has been filling this gap right here at 390, it's been having reversals, 4 reversals in a row at this key gap fill level. I mean, shout out to all the people who are playing calls at the lows, at the key levels, instead of holding and hoping for 390 to crack, right? At the end of the day, this is a game of getting the best entries. Do you really think a put at 390 is the best entry? Now, if it cracks and reacts as a resistance, which it really didn't, then you can look to scalp a put. You just have to understand that, big upside potential, that's a big problem with key breakdowns. That's why you need a very strong confirmation. You really need to know what you're doing if you're going to play them. I personally prefer mainly just, puts towards key resistance and then the calls towards key support. But you can see now 4 days in a row, we've had these wicks. We had an attempted crack, but it closed at that previous closing price, at that gap fill level. It may have cracked, but it closed at the gap fill level, which in a sense is a little bit bullish, but you can also say it's forming lower highs, but now it's not. Based off of what I'm seeing, it does look bullish. Overall, this is looking bullish. It's beginning to look bullish. We have 4 bottoms at the gap close reversal level. SPY is breaking through resistance. And one of the reasons why I'm saying it's bullish is because the way the chart looks, I'm looking at the daily chart here, and I'm saying, okay, we got this red candle right here. What happens after that? We have this very nice green candle with a strong close. And then you can see the next day, right here on July 28th, it had a very bullish day. At some point, this went red on the day. This it looks like it opened up on this day at 401.89, and it went to a low of 398, and then it ended up skyrocketing to 407, and it just continued to run up. Based off of how this chart looks, overall, this looks bullish. And I just want you to be aware of this pattern, right? So you have this red day right here. You have this red day right here. Nice green candle. Next day, it goes red to green, and then it recovers very, very nicely and explodes up. And then overall, it just continues to go up. So I want you to be aware of that pattern. Here's another very similar example, right? So I want to compare this as well and show you the possibilities here. This is speaking of the bullish potential thesis that we have coming up. So I want you to look at this right here. We have a gap to fill here at key support. We have a gap to fill here at key support. SPY fills the gap, forms the red candle. SPY fills the gap, forms the red candle. Nice green day. Nice green day. What happens after that? Same case scenario. It starts off going green to red, and then it recovers just like that pattern I showed you, and it continues to climb up, and it continues to climb up. And we do have these gaps that are waiting to fill above. We have this gap to fill above here, and we have this gap to fill above here. So that's the bullish thesis. That's what I want to bring awareness to in terms of the bullish thesis, right? In terms of, what do I think of Powell and all this stuff? I'm just going to wait and see how the market reacts, man. I really don't care like what he has to really say. I'm just going to wait and see how the market is responding to what he says, right? Holding anything before that is pure speculation, in my opinion. One of my theories is we get a morning panic and then we recover. If I were to, make an assumption in that sense, I would say a morning panic, since we had such an overreaction to the upside today from 388 to 398, we get some sort of morning panic, and then we get a recovery. Now, let's talk about key levels heading tomorrow. So I shared with you the overall thesis and things that can happen. Let's talk about some key levels, right? So our first key level, and we're going to call this a resistance level, is going to be $397.78. So that's going to be your key level on the SPY for tomorrow in terms of resistance. We're going to have two resistance levels. So our first one is going to be 397.98. If you see the SPY crack through this, form resistance, there's going to be a nice little pullback, and you're going to want to scalp some puts in and out, ideally a morning panic setup. So just be aware, if SPY goes green to red, if we crack 397.78, reacts as a resistance, we will likely get a nice morning panic opportunity. Now, if it does react as a resistance level, how low will we go? How low will we go? We should be able to go to at least 396. I would say like 396 is where we would go. If that cracks, then 394. That's where I would say from there. One theory I have is in terms of tomorrow, I would say 392.50 if you are interested in buying the dip. 392.50 to 394 would be the best zone. I think we're going to see a bounce off of 394. 392.50 would be the best overall price, but we'll likely see a bounce off of 394. One of the tough things about buying the dip tomorrow is if you were to buy the dip, it's going to be extremely tough because SPY's at resistance, and if it rejects previous closing price and reacts as a resistance and goes green to red, it should have a nice little bearish move. So you're kind of just hoping for it to go back green. That's one of the issues I personally see with buying the dip. So buying's a little bit tough. But I will say this, if you ever see it react bullish at one point towards 392 to 394, we will likely go back green. Now, if you see a very bullish retest to the previous closing price, it's breaking above previous closing price, it's turning previous price into support, we will be on track for a run to 401. And that would truly be one of the best levels to scalp put, which would be 401.30. Now, let's go a little bit further back. If we break above 401.30, then the SPY would moonshot to this 405 level. So in terms of bearish thesis, to go bearish, we need to crack, to go micro bearish, this is speaking for a morning panic. Morning panic, we would need to crack 397.78. Should see it pull back to 396. If it cracks 396, we will likely get a bounce off of 394. I strongly believe there's a possibility of a recovery in between 392.50 to 394. For SPY to go truly bearish, if you're holding puts, it would have to crack 392 and turn that into resistance to go truly bearish tomorrow. That's what would need to occur. In terms of bullish thesis, bulls really need to hold 394. If it cracks and rip above the previous closing price, I'm telling you, buying the dip is going to be a little complicated tomorrow, so I'm kind of on the sidelines in that sense. But in terms of bullish thesis, for the bulls to continue to rise and for it to continue to go up at some point in the day, they will need to break above 397.78 and turn that into support, stay green. If that can occur, we should see a move to 401.30. If it breaks above that, then 405. So those are the both overall thesis on the SPY that I have. That's the bullish thesis. That's the bearish thesis. These are the things that I wanted to bring awareness to. I mean, another key thing worth noting based off of this little, pattern that we've been discussing. You can see right here, this was on September 1st. We had a very nice move up. SPY had a nice move up in the morning, and then it sold off at 401.30. And it was a very nasty sell-off at 401.30. So for those of you who are really pushing puts, I want you to pay attention to this 401.30 level. Pay attention to 401.30 and pay attention to 397.78. So basically heading into tomorrow, if I were to trade the best setups at the best prices, based off of what I see now and what I can give you in advance, what would be the three levels? What would be the three levels that I would focus on heading into tomorrow? The three levels would be 401.30, 397.78, the previous closing price, reacts as a resistance, micro crash, reacts as support, micro bullish. And that goes for any time in the day if you see it react that way. So remember that. And then in terms of the key support zone, I would say around 390, 392.50 to 390, 350, around that zone. So that's my thoughts. That's my analysis. I hope you guys enjoyed this and learned a lot from this video. If you do want to be a part of Trader Society, I'm telling you guys, Fridays are known for being my best day. That's coming up very, very soon. And tomorrow should be a very lucrative trading day. We are currently at key major resistance. There's going to be a nice scalping opportunity in the morning to capitalize off of for sure. If you want to be a part of Trader Society, all of the information is down below. It's the first link in the description. You can get access to the Discord. You can get access to my private chat room, the team. You can get access to the networking opportunities within the group. I'm telling you, we got a great team. People are giving out great analysis, great call outs, great information. We had people screaming calls since 391 today, even to swing. And I'm telling you, we got people crushing it, man. Consistently crushing it within the chat. So if you want to be a part of it, it's going to be that first link down below in the description. As soon as you join, you get instant lifetime access. It is a one-time fee. And in terms of what you're getting access to, everything is explained in the first link down below in the description. So you get to trade live with me every single day. You get all my real-time scalp alerts. You get my real-time best setups at the best price alerts, my real-time trade alerts, entries, and exits. You get my watch list, my stock analysis. I will answer any question you have about the SPY or about any stock. I will give you the analysis or help assist you with your trade. If you ask, you have to reach out to me in that sense and ask the question. You get to direct message me personally and along with the members within the chat personally. And you get access to the video lesson library. The video lesson library is where you get to learn all the unique price action trading, gap trading strategies that I've created, risk management, position sizing, how to trade options, psychology of the trade. So that's going to be it. If you want to join, it's the first link down below in the description. There's going to be very important updates heading into tomorrow. One more thing I will say about the SPY is overreactions, man. There's going to be a lot of volatility and a lot of overreactions in the morning. And I will say trend reversals will be the key. Trend reversals at key levels. So if you saw a sharp, crazy move down to this 392 to 390, we're likely going to see a bounce right back up. If you see a sharp move to 401.30, we're likely going to see a micro pullback. These are for quick scalps I'm speaking of. If we see a crack of 397, there's going to be a great put scalping opportunity. So again, overreactions. When Powell's given his speech, I want you to focus on overreactions and trend reversals, right? So what I would say is focus on an M. I want you to focus on an M at resistance, an M like this, an M topping out like that, and then boom, sell off. And the key levels to focus on that M would be 401.30 and 397.80 crack. Now, in terms of a W, key support, a nice W, right? Double bottom, I would focus towards 392.50 to 394. And that's speaking like one-time quick trend reversals. The first time it basically would test those levels, very quick trend reversals, right? So that's what I would focus on. That's key. I saved that to the end. That's one of the best information I can give you. I'm telling you, I remember how SPY reacted last time, man. It's got key trend reversal, double top and double bottom opportunities where you can get in and get out. Very generous. Focus on the best entries, resistance for puts, calls with the key supports that I mentioned. That's going to wrap up tonight's video. If you want to join Trader Society, it's the first link down below in the description.